Welcome to LUTV News in Focus, where we feature interesting topics on campus, in the community, and in the world of culture. I'm Jonathan Tippett. As we prepare individuals at LUTV News to be broadcasting professionals, our goal is to introduce students to all aspects of the industry, from being on-air talent, developing production skills, to producing. James Madison University graduate Kristen Gubala started her career as a production assistant at WHSV-TV in Harrisonburg, Virginia. After developing her craft as a producer in several markets, she is currently a senior producer at Fox News Media. I spoke with Kristen to learn about her successful career in broadcasting, what her job entails at Fox News, and asked her to share advice with students interested in producing as a career. Kristen, thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
No, you don't normally do this kind of thing, so I feel extra honored to have you be a part of LUTV News.
Well, it's because of my sister, so.
So, I just want to start out real simple. Just give me a small taste of what it's like a day in your life, in a typical day and in the new COVID era.
So I'm a senior producer at Fox Nation, which is our subscription entertainment service. It launched about 2 years ago. We celebrate America and everything that makes it great, and the veterans and the people and the places and the history. So I've been with Fox Nation for about a year, and so there is no normal day, unlike working on a news show, because projects just keep getting added. And so I have a team of 15 that I oversee, and we are all remote. We've been remote since we went home March 13th, and we have no date that we're going back. So, you know, my job is to oversee basically all of our big special projects. I'm currently working on a special that's dropping on the channel, Fox News channel. So there's a 10 o'clock spot every Sunday, and we normally produce those shows. So we're putting that together right now. And I'm also working on another special and mentoring staff and doing edits on another interview. There's just multiple projects. So I'm just the coordinator of chaos, I would say, and time management and resources, and the final say and the final eye over what it is that we are putting up on the app. But I would say in the COVID era, we've had to adjust. I'm surprised of how much we're able to do from home, and that there's really no need for us to ever go back in the office. Fox has created so many great resources that, I tape shows from sitting in my living room, virtually watching, and somebody being in a control room in the office in New York. I would say the one thing that changes that there's a lot more time spent on something where I could just lean over and say, hey, can you handle this? And it's got to be a phone call and a text message and an email. So everything takes a lot longer. But I also think it's helped bring us all together closer. I, as a manager, try to check in with each person at least once a week, just to see how they're doing and, how they're handling things, and just to catch up, so I'm not just some person that sends them an email or text message all the time asking them to do things. And we also have a meeting once a week virtually, just to kind of get what's happening, who's doing what, because there's a lot of questions where people are like, well, what are they busy? And so I have a lot of resources that I've used online. Like we use Quip, which is like Google Docs, where everyone can kind of see what the assignments are, who's working on what. So as much as we can do online, and try to make it transparent for everybody. So it's kind of been a challenge, but it's been a fun challenge.
You mentioned that you're we don't necessarily need to go back to the office. Do you see a future where you might not be returning to that same space, or do you think it'll be a little bit of half and half? Like where do you see it going forward?
So for Fox Nation, since we're not doing, we had about 10 to 15 daily news shows we were putting out on the app, and we're down to 4 due to COVID, just because of production restraints, and the demand wasn't really there. So we're able to still produce those, and we're kind of moving on to do more long form and lifestyle things and specials that people are interested in that are non-political. So, you know, I miss the camaraderie and I miss like catching up with people, but there is a very good chance that I could see that we wouldn't go back. But if we did, it would be hybrid. And, you know, we've proven that we don't need to be, you know, in office. So we've made it work. I think just people miss having that socialization is what's difficult.
So how did you personally end up in a position where you are the coordinator of chaos?
So I am from a small town in Southwest Virginia, where, you know, 75% of the people like want to live there for the rest of their life. And I just never wanted to stay there. I just always wanted something bigger and better, and just knew there was a bigger world out there. So in college, high school, I did newspaper just like my senior year, and I was like, well, I kind of like that. I guess I'll major in that because I don't know what else I want to do. And so in college, for that, I was going towards print journalism because that was what I liked. We had to take TV courses, and I was like, oh, I like this. I like knowing everything, all the stories and what's happening. And I'm a know-it-all, and I have to know everything and be the first to know, and I'm always like constantly like reading and trying to do all that. And so it just kind of, you know, my professor's like, you might want to be a producer, but maybe you should try to get a job at the local station. And so I went to James Madison, which is in a small town. There's only one TV station. So I happened to be like one of 3 students to get to be a production assistant, where I literally ran camera, audio, ripped scripts, edited tape to tape. That was back in my day where you had to do that. And I was just always asking questions, and they were like, you really need to be a producer, but you need to be an AP. So after college, tried to shorten this, I went home to Roanoke, lived with my mom, and got a job at the local station as an AP. First working like nights and weekend mornings, and then became promoted to like the morning AP, because then you got to produce the cut-ins, and a lot of breaking news happened during then, and there was a missing child. So I got a lot of experience of like thinking on my feet. And then, you know, I was like, I want to do this full time. And so I'd go on my own and on the weekends and train with producers that were willing to let me. And so got a job. And, you know, it's just kind of, this business is, I always try to tell people it's only as limited as you think in your mind. You know, I was in Market 68 in AP, and I'd send out so many tapes, and they're like, why are you know, you need to apply to Market 180. And I'm like, no, I can do better than 180. And somebody bit in Lexington, Kentucky to be a supervising morning producer, and I hadn't even been a regular producer yet. So you just fake it till you make it. And just bounced around and just slowly made my way up from there. And when I was in Atlanta, my last job before New York, as a 10 o'clock producer at a Fox affiliate, and I kept being like, okay, I always just, as soon as I get something, I want something more. I want a new challenge, and I just wasn't being challenged. I mean, I was being challenged daily, but not like mentally in my career and what I wanted to do. And there was no room for growth. And I'd spoken to all my bosses, and, you know, I was like, shoot, I'm single. Like, let's try to go to New York. Like, and through me being at a Fox affiliate, I sent emails to some people I knew and went to HR and had a lot of interviews and a lot of different shows, and ended up on Fox and Friends in 2013. And so I've worked my way up from there through Fox. Does that answer your question?
Definitely answers my question. So you started out in a pretty small town, and then you just continued to work your way up. And I think you'll find that's a pretty common thing in news. Now you're with a major network. I was going to ask, we're living in a time where people are kind of being distrustful of the media in general. Have you received yourself like any kind of hate or shade, so to speak, that people have kind of directed towards you just because of your job title?
Yes, social media is, I use social media more as a observer and to see what my friends are up to and to get the news on Twitter. Twitter is a great resource to, keep up on current and what's happening and, follow my favorite writers. But I personally don't post it very often. And if I do, it's just very bland things about my dog, because there is a very visceral reaction when you say Fox News. People either love it or they hate it. Especially living in New York, I never tell anyone where I work. If I meet new people, it takes me a while to just trust them because there is such a reaction. But I would say to those people, I work at Fox News, but I am not Fox News, all of it, and my sister and my mom, can speak for that. They'll be like, oh, I was so upset. I'm like, I'm not that. Just because they said that doesn't mean I did that, and we're not all the same people. And it's really frustrating, and it breaks my heart because there are a lot of good people doing the right thing every day, and there's a few people that mess it up for the rest of us. It's just frustrating that I can't be, yelling from the rooftops of what I do, and I'm so happy and I'm so proud, and I want to post things because it's just hate. And I get hate messages just randomly. People will find me and tell me they want me to die, all because of where I work.
And how do you react to that?
When it first happened, I was just, very upset. And now I'm just like, oh, wow, I got to hate a death threat today for no reason. Nothing I posted. Just there's some people who are trolling and searching for keywords on LinkedIn or whatever. And, I just shrug it off and hope, wish them well, that they, sad that has come to that, and they have nothing else to do except for troll people. And I'm not even a person that people should know, and I'm being threatened. So I can't imagine what it's like for those who are putting their face on TV every day.
Why should someone, if they're interested in joining this news career umbrella, why might they be interested in becoming a producer?
So I love being a producer, and I never wanted to be on camera. All the real action is behind the scenes. Being a producer for me, I don't know. You get to be in the middle of it, and you get to be creative, and you're not just going out and turning a 1:30 package and getting to be on the 5 and 6 o'clock news. You're involved in the process and the editorial, and you're working closely with the managers and all the reporters and the photographers and the editors. So you get to have your hand in everything. And then when the day, the show's over, well, I always say the best part of my day is when we're on the air and we're in the control room, and then it's just kind of like all your hard work comes to life. And I always just sit on the edge of my seat because I'm so excited, because I've been working on this all day and but you're counting on so many other people to execute your plan. But I think if you have good relationships and you have a good team, you will have a good outcome. And then the show's over, and I always just feel exhausted but exhilarated. And then I'm like, all right, so we'll just do it again tomorrow. And you can just wipe the slate clean, and then you just start over. It doesn't carry over. So I like that. Just every day is a new day, and you just get to start. And like I said, there's so many opportunities outside of producing where, you get to get into field producing or creative projects or investigations. And that comes from being a producer when you're back in the studio and you're working with everyone so closely, and you get to, contribute ideas and pitch stories instead of just being that one person doing that one thing.
And you get to see it all. It's gratifying. You see it all come
together. It's very gratifying.
Help build something.
Mm-hmm.
That's something special, I would say.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kristen, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching LUTV News in Focus. To see more content from LUTV News, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.